It's Trucker Rod here and the S.E.E channel, and get you guys all squared away here. So, we are here in Rocky Mount at Dudley's truck stop. Nice little truck stop here, and I was going to go outside, but moving around right now in the lot, and it would be a little distracting. So, been a beautiful day down here. Just a little bit of rain coming out of Beckley, West Virginia, but yeah, I only got one more stop, and then I'm heading back up, and I just may have one route to do at the end of the week, but I'll be back Wednesday morning first thing. So before we get started, if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. You know, we're trying to grow ourselves to 1,000 subscribers to unlock more features. But also, we have another channel, RK Auto Detailing. I put it down in the description. If you could, we are 7 subscribers away from unlocking the live stream on that. What I'd like to do is once a month go out and go over products that I use in auto detailing and AMSOIL, and some of the products I have there. So I want to promote a lot of the other side hustles and stuff I do there to promote that channel, but get stuff going and probably do some more videos there. So what do we got here? Seals. Hey, I'm still tanking, man. I actually like it, not bad money, and they got me home every Friday for the weekend. Right on the. This channel sucks, John. Okay, John. Yeah. Alright, everyone's entitled to their opinion. So anyhow, we're trying to work on that second channel just to get that up over 50 subscribers. So if you can get over there, that would be great. Now, what else did I want to go over? Hey, what we're going to start with is the trucking industry. Notice that there are quite a few channels out there. They do a lot of, you want to say reactionary. And there is one in particular. He likes to sit in his truck, and he used to do a trucking channel, but now he's gone all political, but just likes to sit in his echo chamber. He likes to blame, everyone likes to just blame everything on a current administration or anything political, but this stuff is beyond. If you do critical thinking and critical research, that you will see that this stuff takes more than one administration to destroy. So trucking industry has been really going down since 2019, and I saw that before COVID, that the volume was there, but the capacity was ramped up. A lot of people went out in 2018 and bought trucks. Market was up, and it was the same in 20 and 2021. Rates were through the roof. People were buying more trucks, or they were starting LLCs, getting their MC numbers, their authorities, and jumping in an industry which they thought would never go down. We have seen tens of thousands of companies from 2020 through now, this year, 2025, so last 5 years, we have seen several companies go under. So this guy just points out just this administration is destroying trucking. No, it's getting the undocumented, non-domicile CDL holders out here that are running over human beings because they don't understand the road signs, understand English, have had improper training, and so on and so forth with these illegals. If you're going to come here and work and thrive in America, come in legally. Come in and be a citizen. Get your proper training. But yes, the last 4 years prior, they were letting people just run through the border, they were just flooding them in. And it was by design. they want to destroy America in our way of life. And it's not just one side; it's both sides. It's the NGOs, the non-government officials. These are your global elitists, your Larry Finks, George Soros, Bill Gates. These are the guys that want to destroy America and put it under lockstep and control, kind of like that gentleman that ran Germany in the 1930s and 40s. Basically, they're running his playbook. So that all said, I pulled up some articles. So just to give an example, seeing how John Musk made a page to hide behind the behavior. Yeah, well, let John be John there, I guess, if he's gonna feel that way. Anyhow, with the last 4 or 5 years, the big one was Yellow. Yellow was the big one that went under. They had what, 22,000 drivers, like 30,000 overall. Administration staff, mechanics, terminals, equipment being auctioned off. That was huge. That was a couple years ago. Convoy went down. And what else do they have in here? In 2023, nearly 88,000 trucking companies shut down their operations, along with 8,000 freight brokers. Compared with 2023, trucking demand in 2020 was 30% higher in volumes. After the pandemic, railroad shipping volumes decreased by 20% without recovery. Last mile deliveries were 10x, and ocean shipping decreased by 25%. Big trucking companies have to deal with rising operational costs. Driver wages account for 32% of all trucking-related costs in 2022, with driver benefits accounting for another 8%. So remember, Americans here, we are a first world country. Yeah, we're not going to work for 20 cents a mile. Therefore, by design, they have flooded this country with, these undocumented and non-domiciled immigrants and CDL drivers because they want slave wages. It's funny that people bring up about slavery and reparations for people, we should pay reparations for, the black people because of what happened in the 1800s. That's such bullshit. But yet slavery is still alive and well because they're bringing over these immigrants, and they're putting like 3 to 5 of these guys in a truck like mine, and they're running them around the clock. Illegal, running the truck illegal, and there's been so much vehicular manslaughters and homicides from this because of inept experience being behind the wheel. And yet certain people want to harbor these folks and say, look the other way, don't criminalize these people, don't run them through the court system, and what have you. I want to say the strongest fight right now this year has been the American Truckers United, ATU, out of Arkansas. And they have really pushed, so therefore Arkansas and Oklahoma have really ramped up vetting these people when they come across their DOT inspections. Ike over at Bonehead Truckers, he has taken, his goof off spin of dumb things truck drivers either do or have to endure from the four-wheelers or vehicles out here every day. He's gotten more serious into the backstories and the stories and backstories of these accidents from these immigrants. He has been really driving hard and going hard at this to get more exposure, and he's been on top of the hill sounding the alarm to other entities like OOIDA, mother trucker, Alex over there. He's been on Alex. He's like, dude, you got to get on top of this crap. You can't just report lightly on this little bit of news, that little bit of news. You got to be on this all day long. And because Alex is more doing this full time YouTube, where Ike is doing it, but he's also driving truck full time like I am. So, anyhow, that's where I've been getting the news. That Freightway, Overdrive, those are some great resources to get information and the latest information of what's going on in logistics, especially in the industry. Freightways really covers like with sonar. They cover a lot of ocean shipping to rail and trucking. So they you can pretty much get a good wealth of news on all aspects. Yeah, Laura. I saw that he just made his page yesterday. Yeah, there's always good. Every channel is going to have a troll or someone's just going to be doing something. So, but appreciate Silos being here and thank you, man. I'm glad that tanker's working out for you. You can make money out here, but there's a lot of people that, like I said, is trucking a good safety net. For me, it was a safety net, and when I put in a thumbnail, safety net is I was in healthcare. I burned out in trucking at the end of 2000, going into 2001. I sold everything I owned, went off to school, going to reinvent a new career, become a doctor, and get into healthcare and what have you. That was the trend. That was the push being sold to us then. And by 2013, I gotten laid off twice in 10 months. So with a stack of bills, because when you're not working and you don't have a steady paycheck, now getting back from October of 2012 to October of 2013, by the time I got out of the hospital setting, I never saw a 40-hour paycheck for those 12 months. We went back and looked like a year after that. So by 2014, I realized when I got into trucking, there was a 12-month period I never saw a 40-hour paycheck. And then they laid us off. And then falling back on our business and merging that and what have you, that didn't work out. So the thing of it is if you're not making the money to sustain the debt that's coming into the house, for us, it was the ongoing medical bills that my wife was accumulating, but also my student loans that I was obligated to. I didn't look for somebody to bail me out. We've paid off out of $120 some thousand of student loan debt. I'm down to like 30 plus thousand now, and we're looking to get that paid off by next summer. So, I don't point the finger and say, hey, government, pay off this because I'm having a hard time and I can't seem to get. You know what? I also paid off $40,000 of medical debt for my wife so she can continue care without being fired. And when you don't pay your medical debt, they don't have to obligate to see you anymore if you're not paying your bills to them. So we have paid our bills, but that meant a lot of sacrificing. That meant not taking vacations, not having the, even though I'm making great money, but our obligation, we want to be debt-free by this time next year, in the sense that we need to move to a new house. There's a lot of, we have a lot of that going on. We need to downsize our house. We have too much house, and we need to move on and move forward to getting something more sustainable that's easier to maintain, especially as we get older. I'm going to be 60 at the end of 2026, so I don't need a big yard, big house anymore with just the wife and I. But the safety net was healthcare couldn't sustain us to pay our bills. So I kept my CDL. I fell back on it. And here I am 11 years later making 2.5, 3 times more annually driving truck than I did working in healthcare. Therefore, Why would I go back to healthcare? And I saw a lot of colleagues and friends that were in healthcare got furloughed, or they couldn't perform their job. And so maybe if they were for example, one was a physical therapist, they ended up having to check people in and triage. It was either that or get laid off, furloughed, and they took that on instead of doing the furlough. So that way they could keep building up their PTO and other debts and keep their health care. But they weren't able to do their assigned task or what they went to school for. And that happened for a lot of folks. And then you saw a lot of people throughout the nation that wouldn't do the vaccine, then they got fired. They got let go. Doctors, nurses, techs, administrative people. I basically have just gave them the fingers to take your jab and shove it up your wazooie. I wasn't doing it. And we were very blessed to be in this field, because all I did was get busier, and that's all we've done is it stayed steadier, busier each passing year since 2020. So a safety net, yes. Is it a way now to look back how it was in 2014 to say, oh shit, my white collar job let me go, I need to fall back on a blue collar job? Trucking's not really the best to get into right now. It's not a good safety net for someone that may be a white collar worker that might, a lot of people are getting laid off due to AI. A lot of them are getting laid off just, over, I want to say there's more workers than is work out there. So companies are laying them off. And you see it through a lot of the tech sector. Your Google, what are some other ones, Laura, that, there's been a lot of your high dollar jobs that they're letting people go, and they're laying them off into thousands, on top of trucking companies over the last 5 years that have laid off tens of thousands of people. And it's not a good safety net, nor is a white collar job. But hey, building trades, plumbing, electrical, that kind of stuff, that's still in demand. But yeah, I don't know. I just saw there's this cat out there, and I'll tell you, he sits in his truck, talks about politics. He thinks, politics, if it wasn't for politics, you can't eat, sleep, or shit, if you're not following politics and then believing what it's got to say, like it's running your life. And politics to me is just like, I don't know, it's so unwavering to anything that comes out of their mouths. It's just like you roll your eyes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, another lie. And it's just like it's almost like you catch your spouse on the episodes of Cheaters, and they just sit there, what, nothing happened, no, my pants aren't on, my panties are over there, but hey, I'm not cheating, no, I'm not cheating, we're just friends. That's a politician for you. I mean, if you're having to take every word of a politician to heart, that their word is gold to lead you to run your home economy, you're setting yourself up for failure. So like I said, turn it off, tune it out, and focus on your home front, focus on your own circle, your own economy. Yeah, accounting and marketing, a lot of those folks are getting let go due to AI too. So it's one of those, this guy was getting out of his truck. He was just leaning over, seeing what I was talking to my phone, but I think he figured out I'm doing something on the camera here. So where was I at? Accounting, marketing. I lost my train of thoughts. But yeah, as far as the safety net and going forward, what is out there that you can invest in? Invest in yourself. But the thing of it is take control of your economy at home. know how to invest, know where your money's being invested. If you've got a date targeted, um, date targeted 401k, where like at first I think I was doing a 2045 whatever, because it's, I call it a template. They call it a date targeted 401k, where you just put it into a certain date time stamp thing, and you just set it, forget it, and your financial advisor through your 401k and your employer, they're supposed to be handling it, and all they're doing is just going to collect a shit ton of fees off you when you go to take an RMD, or required minimum distribution. So therefore, know how to invest, where to invest, how to store your money, your capital, and how to minimize when you want to put that money in a stored place, that you're minimizing your tax going in and your tax when you go to take the RMD out. Um, so it's stuff like that. Knowing economics, knowing how to run your house in a downturn, economic downturn, with prices going up, rents, utilities, insurance, groceries, fuel for your vehicle, parts for your car to keep it maintained. It's things you need to keep your head on the swivel and stay informed on, and what's going on around you. You can't stick your head in the sand and it'll come out in the wash. The government will take care of this. Anything the government touches makes it worse, and they're only going to do it. They're only going to get involved as long as they can make money at it, as long and they have more control over you by taking more freedom and liberties away from us. So if they can grab more power grab, more control, and make more profit for themselves, otherwise they're not going to get involved. Um, if it's a dead end street to get involved with something. Um, but yeah, you need to take control of your life. And so many people get on these platforms, and they kick, scream, and cry, and they blame so much and deflect so much of their problems onto everything else in the world. But instead of looking at themselves in the mirror and saying, hey, I made this decision, I went down this path, and it was a bad dead end path. And you need to find a solution, fix the problem, and move on and learn from it. But that's not today's case, because everyone has been spoon-fed. Either the adults have been spoon-fed by government subsidies or social programs. Kids have been pacified. My wife sent me a nice video about, when you see a very, I want to say, bad kid in society, a kid that, you know, does not listen to adults, does not listen to authority, and pushes back, you need to look at their parents and just say, that is some shitty ass parenting you did there. And yeah, you need to grab that kid by the ear and kick him in the ass. I'm sorry, but you shouldn't spank kids. It ensues violence. Yes, and the kids go out and ensue violence anyways. So what did you accomplish from not? Well, I'm going to give them time out. And time out is such a, it's such a pussy way of just taking care of the kids. So, but yeah, the safety net for trucking, it's just not there. Maybe it will be, but who knows? Right now, we got to filter out all these deadbeat non-domiciles out of here, because they want slave labor. And it's the big trucking companies. They want that slave labor because they're the ones who's on top of the hill screaming driver shortage. It's all your mega carriers. They're the ones all placing these people on the board of the FMCSA. These are also the people on the board running the ATA, which I would never become a member nor take any information of any logistics from the ATA, American Trucking Association. I would go through OOIDA or ATU, American Truckers United, Freightwave, somewhere that is not. All right, there we are. Sorry about that buffering. I had to move the phone around just a little bit. I actually had to do a reboot about half hour before the live stream. taking a phone call from a contractor for our house, and so I know I've had it's about as best connection as I can get. Yeah. So these kids just lack discipline, and parenting has become way too soft. It's going to come back and bite them all in the ass at some point. But I'm glad I got a vasectomy. I stopped at 2 kids. And I married a woman that didn't have any kids, and we didn't want to have kids, and that's just the way it is. I get it. All the other foreign country, the cultures come in and they want to have 7 or 8 kids. And I'm like, you knock your ass out with that crap. Birth rates are down, they say, in America and China and all these other places, but you know, with inflation and cost of living, it's like trying to raise, the day of having 6, 7 kids. It's just not. I'm not gonna work like a damn pack mule or slave just to sustain feeding and keeping a roof over the head of these little turds. So, not my idea of having fun growing old and then dying. So, so this is how kids turn into adult felons. Yes, and that's true. It's already happening. So I don't know. A lot of people put up with a lot of crap from these kids, and they just walk away. I've told my wife, I said, some kid come running up screaming at me or spitting at me. I said, I just knocked her teeth in. But that's just me. I'm gonna do something to say you should have gotten this spanking a long time ago, but now an adult, yeah, you're gonna have to get assaulted because of your childish actions and for just acting like a big spoiled entitled baby. So, and these kids have no hard work ethics, nor have any skill sets whatsoever to do anything else but to get on their phones and use the GPS to get to the mailbox to get their handouts, wherever it may be, the food bank, or maybe the government sends everything through their EBT card or Cash App, PayPal, or something like that. But no, it's trucking is kind of like if you got a good company and a good job right now, I would hold tight with them. The wiggle room to leave today and have a job, leave in the morning and have a job with another company in the afternoon is but far gone, unless somebody is in real desire, need to want to bring you on because they want your experience. That would be the only way. But to have an attitude with your company and just walk in and quit at 8 o'clock in the morning and think you're going to have a job by lunch or 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A lot of companies are vetting a lot of folks. They're getting tired of the turnover. And like I started saying earlier, with these mega carriers that have influenced the ATA and the FMCSA, these are the ones on top of the hill, and they're going to die on this hill about driver shortage. The only reason why is because these idiots pay peanuts, or they're bringing in non-domicile or illegal immigrants to sit and run their trucks. And I don't care what country, but as long as it's a breathing, able body to go down the road, they just don't care. Because the bottom line is the bottom dollar for these guys. And that's why I won't give them the time of day. I could almost go through a list, and I wouldn't care if I don't get, I want to say if the video got suppressed because, I named off some trucking companies that don't play well. And ones I would never, ever touch. And I mean, if that's something you guys want to ever hear, we could probably break down at least 10, 12 companies I wouldn't go to. I would find a new style of career than to go drive for them. Because, I just don't, the cameras, what was it? I was watching one trucking channel that they were like they got pulled in the terminal because they can't see them because somehow the lens went out on the camera facing inward, and they thought they were putting the visor over the camera. So they ended up giving them a revised visor. They could block the camera, but the camera they said they should be able to see in there or whatever. So of course this person's like, I don't want them to see me on my off sleeper berth or off duty time, whether they're doing a 34 or 10 hour, and just privacy. And I've already said I won't do in cameras. I'll walk away before I allow that. If they dropped one in this truck, they say, hey, come in Friday, we're going to put an inward facing camera in you, I'd be like, here's the keys, clean the truck out, and I'm going home. I'll figure it out from there. But no, if you gotta have, to me is like, well, then can I have cameras on you to watch you in your office all day? If not, then what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's like, it's just the way it's gonna be. But they just the whole surveillance and Big Brother watching you has gotten to be ridiculous in all sense. But so yeah, pick your poison. If you are getting newly into trucking, like maybe you lost your white collar job, you're going to get into trucking. But boy, I'll tell you what, be very cautious. Look, do the critical work, thinking work, and look into these companies and know who you're signing in with to go drive their truck. There's a lot of broken promises too. These recruiters, boy, they're about as slick willy as can be as a used car salesman, trying to, this is all great and the sun shines great here all the time, and it's like yaddy. I've heard every broken promise out there from these turds, and I don't put up with it. And I don't think you guys should either, too. Whether you're in a company like Silos there, he started, I remember him just, a couple months ago or so, he started with a tanker company. And it's working out for him. And I said, if you're going to make money in this industry, you got to get outside of the dry van and reefer. So you either got to get in